Shropshire Ghost Tales podcast. I am your host, Galactica Tranctica. This episode will examine the ghost tales and history of the Madeley Court Hotel, which is situated near the small village of Madeley in Shropshire. The Madeley Court Hotel is a 16th century house which was built on the site of a medieval grange which belonged to the Wenlock Priory. The ruins of the Wenlock Priory Monastery is situated in the village of Much Wenlock and is now owned by the English Heritage, where visitors can visit. Before I move on to the rest of the podcast, I would like to ask all the listeners out there to please support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like on the channel. It not only helps the channel get more recognition, it also helps independent creators such as myself to do more of the content that you enjoy listening to. With that being said, let's jump back into the podcast. Between 1536 and 1541, Henry VIII disbanded the monasteries in England, Wales and Ireland, and in 1544 the medieval grange was sold off and was purchased by Sir Robert Brooke, who was a politician and judge and later became the Speaker of the House of Commons in England. Sir Robert Brooke built the house on the site of the medieval grange. The house was then passed down the family tree of the Brooke family. In regards to the paranormal activity of the Madeley Court Hotel, many people have seen the ghost of a monk walking around the grounds of the property. The monk has been seen multiple times by visitors and is said to be wearing black robes and a hood, and when witnesses have tried to make contact with the ghost, the monk just dissolves into thin air. The ghost of the monk is said to be from when the property was a monastic grange. In 1727, after many generations of the Brooke family had owned the property, Basil Brooke passed away whilst he was still young. The house then was inherited between the two sisters, Catherine and Rose. However, after Basil Brooke's death, the property started to decline, as no maintenance was done to the property. After Catherine's death, her half of the property was inherited by her husband, and then into their son, which sold his half of the property to Abraham Darby III. Abraham Darby III was the iron master which constructed the first cast iron bridge in the world, which still stands today at the village of Ironbridge in Shropshire. Abraham Darby sold the property in 1781 to his brother-in-law, Richard Reynolds, which was a partner of the Coalbrookdale Company, which was a significant contributor in the ironworks industry during the Industrial Revolution. Richard Reynolds later bought the other half of the property from Rose Brooke's daughters. In regards to the hauntings, staff at the Madeley Court Hotel say that the top floor of the hotel is the most haunted, where they have heard footsteps and the ghosts of Victorian maids doing their chores. When witnesses have tried to communicate with the maids, they stop doing their chores and then just fade away. Room 11 is also haunted, as residents have complained of being woken up to the presence of a half-formed apparition sitting at the bottom of their bed. Is it probable that the ghosts are the maids from when Richard Reynolds owned the property? And who is the ghost in room 11? What do you think? Leave your comments in the comments section. With that being said, let's examine the history further. The property was inherited through the Reynolds family and then onto the Ball family. However, by 1880 the property was almost in ruins and the gatehouse walls were starting to crack. And after the Ball family left, the property was left abandoned, and the only occupants at the time were farmers, which used some of the buildings to keep their farming equipment and livestock. Locals at the time avoided the property as it was believed that the house was haunted by dark entities, which made it clear that visitors were not welcome. One part of the property, called the Old Mill, is still haunted to this day by a poltergeist. Staff at the Madeley Court Hotel say that the tables and the chairs move by themselves and cups get thrown across the room. Nobody knows who the poltergeist may have been. If any listeners to this podcast have any ideas who this ghost may have been, please leave a comment in the comments section. In 1973, the Telford Development Corporation, or TDC, set a plan to restore the house, where they restored the house to its former glory, as well as repairing the gatehouse, which had deteriorated significantly. The property was then converted into an hotel under the guidance of Jim Roberts, which was also the architect of the Rotunda in Birmingham. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this podcast, and please remember to support the channel. Moreover, I will be reading any comments that you leave, and I will try to respond to as many of your comments as possible, as there are many questions to be answered in regards to the Madeley Court Hotel and its hauntings. All music and production is all my own creative work. Thanks again for listening.